Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where your curiosity leads the way. You send us sources, and we dig into them.
We pull out the most interesting bits, the key takeaways, basically giving you a shortcut to getting up to speed.
Exactly. And today, we're jumping into the world of Jackie Chan adventures. Specifically, we're looking at one cool artifact, the Tiger Talisman.
Right, and our main source for this is the info you shared from the Jackie Chan Adventures wiki. A pretty comprehensive look, actually.
It really is. So our mission today is to get a handle on this talisman. Like, what are its powers, really? Where did it come from?
And what makes it unique in the whole mythology of the show. So yeah, let's start with origins. Where did this thing begin?
Okay, so the wiki tells us its core power, this whole spiritual balance idea.
The yin and yang aspect.
Yeah, that actually split off from the demon Shendu back when Lope turned him into that statue.
So it's literally a piece of his duality pulled right out of him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
A fragment of his essence. But where they found it, that's not what you'd expect.
Right, forget ancient tombs or dragon hordes. This is different.
You are not kidding. Where did this potent piece of magic show up?
Okay, get this. Inside a pie.
A pie?
At a pie-eating competition. In Texas, no less.
Seriously, a pie-eating contest in Texas.
Yeah.
Wow. It's certainly memorable.
It kind of sets a tone, doesn't it? The magic mixing with the mundane, almost comically so.
It really does. So, okay, it grants spiritual balance. What does that mean in the show? Like, what does it do?
Well, the wiki explains it as balancing the inner forces. You know, the light and dark, good and bad within someone. Classic yin and yang.
Okay, inner harmony.
And Shindu apparently thought it was crucial. He called it the glue.
The glue.
Yeah, the thing that let him, or anyone, really effectively use the powers of multiple talismans at once, like combine them properly.
Ah, okay, because sometimes the powers might conflict.
Exactly. The wiki even says, with all 12, including the tiger, Shendu could fly at supersonic speeds, which is, pretty fast.
Supersonic flight, balanced by pie magic. I love it. The wiki did mention others tried combining powers, right? Like rabbit and rooster.
Yeah, for flight. But it seems it wasn't as stable or powerful without the tiger talisman providing that synergy.
So the tiger's the key ingredient for the full combo meal of powers.
Seems that way. But it has another major power, one that's much more dramatic.
Oh, yeah, the splitting thing. Splitting the user into their light and dark halves. How does that work?
Yeah, so if the talisman itself gets broken in half while someone's holding it...
Which apparently happens easily, the casing isn't strong.
Right, it's noted as fragile. So if it breaks, it splits the holder's yin and yang, creates two separate beings like doppelgangers.
One light, one dark.
Exactly. And to fix it, you need to bring both the talisman halves and the two doppelgangers back together.
That sounds volatile. And it wasn't just breaking the talisman, was it? Didn't the noble tiger split herself?
Yeah, just by getting agitated while holding it. It really shows how... sensitive that power is. Manipulating core duality isn't simple.
And it could affect more than one person at once.
Oh, definitely. If the halved talisman is active, it seems it can split multiple people nearby. Imagine the chaos.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
But sometimes the split wasn't clean?
No, there was that instance with Jackie Chan, wasn't there? If the process gets interrupted somehow.
He ended up with two heads for a bit.
Yeah. Each head with a different side of his personality. Talk about being literally of two minds.
That's just bizarre. But the talisman wasn't all about splitting people and causing mayhem, right? There was another quieter ability.
Yes, a really interesting one. It could reunite broken objects.
Like Jade's friendship medallion.
Precisely. She used the talisman on her half, and the other half, wherever it was, started acting like a beacon.
A beacon, so it drew them together.
Or at least showed the way. It created this kind of connection, a pull between the separated pieces. Pretty neat application, actually.
That is clever. Less dramatic, but useful. Now, the wiki points out its main appearances were in Season 1.
Yeah, specifically mentioned are Project A for Astral. That was a flashback, though. Okay. Then it got mentioned in the Dog and Piggy show. But the big one, where you really see the powers explored, is the tiger and the pussycat.
Makes sense, given the name. Good fit.
Definitely.
Okay, let's dig into some trivia the wiki highlighted. Apparently, not many characters actually got split by it. Excluding Sasha, of course.
That's right. The list is short. Jackie, Captain Black, and Spring-Heeled Jack. That's it.
And Jackie got the worst of it.
Yeah, he went through the splitting thing 3 separate times. You'd think he'd learn to, I don't know, wear gloves or something.
Right. And it's funny how some people totally misunderstood its power.
Oh yeah, Hawk Fu thought it was about physical balance, like tightrope walking.
And didn't Jade try to use it on some books?
Yeah, like trying to magically balance a stack
Yeah.
shows how tricky interpreting these magic items can be.
Definitely. The design is quite specific too, isn't it?
It is. It shows 2 tigers facing opposite ways. A clear nod to the yin and yang symbol, reinforcing that core idea of balance and duality.
A nice visual cue. And the show's take on yin and yang was slightly different.
Kind of. Sometimes yin was linked to light and yang to dark, which is a bit of a flip. But the general behavior of the split halves still matched the light-dark concept pretty well.
Gotcha. And back to Jade and the medallion, that reunion power was key to finding Siwu, wasn't it?
Exactly. Using the talisman on her half made the other half act like that homing beacon, leading them right to him. It's about finding connection.
That's great detail. The wiki also notes that Tiger Talisman had the fewest users overall. Only 5.
Yeah, surprisingly few. And it was considered one of Shendu's idol talismans.
Idle? Why is that?
Well, the thinking is because everyone has both good and bad in them, right? That inherent duality.
Oh.
So the talisman, being about balance, never really revealed a purely good Shendu. It couldn't, because that balance is fundamental. It wasn't about amplifying one side.
Ah, okay. It reflects the existing balance rather than forcing one aspect out. That makes sense. But even with all this lore, there were some, let's say, inconsistencies.
Oh, yeah. The wiki points out a few moments where the rules seem to bend a bit. Like, does the talisman itself have to split?
Right, because in Return of the Pussycat, it did split when Jackie split. That seems to be the main rule.
But then later, like in Black Magic, when it splits Spring-Heeled Jack and Captain Black, the talisman stays whole.
Huh. So sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't.
Seems like it. And how they rejoin changes, too. Later on, sometimes just touching the whole talisman was enough instead of needing the 2 halves.
Okay, so maybe the writers got a bit flexible as things went on.
Probably. It happens in long shows, you know? Story needs sometimes strict magical rules. It keeps things moving, I guess.
True. Well, inconsistencies or not, the Tiger Talisman is definitely one of the more psychologically interesting ones.
For sure. That power to split the self, the yin and yang, it's pretty profound, even for a cartoon. Plus the whole object reunion thing, it's unique.
So wrapping up our deep dive on the Tiger Talisman came from Shendu's balance. Found in a pie in Texas, still amazing.
Grant's spiritual balance acts as a glue for other powers, but also dangerously splits people into light and dark sides.
With sometimes messy results, like extra heads. And it has that cool power to reunite broken things, acting like a beacon.
A powerful, sometimes unstable artifact with, yeah, a few quirks in how it was shown over time.
Definitely. And that leads us to a final thought for you listening. This talisman makes inner conflict very, very literal, doesn't it?
It really does. So think about this. What other fictional items or powers explore that kind of inner duality in cool ways?
And maybe, just maybe, what if something like that existed for real? What would it mean if we could actually see or be separated into our own light and dark sides? What would that reveal?
Yeah, something to chew on. What does that balance or imbalance really look like?